I want to talk to you guys and level with you guys today about some leaks that have happened for the Alpha Omega Nuketown Zombies map that's going to be coming out in around about 10 days time. The leaks are not just a small little bit of text string from the game files. It's not just a tease that a certain character is going to be back or something. These are pretty significant, and so I think that a dedicated video talking about just the leaks themselves as a whole is probably justified. The first thing that I need to get to in this video, though, is actually a story that I want to tell you. I want you to teleport yourself back in time through to 2013. At the time, Origins had just released. It was August 27th or something, 2013. You would have been 6 years younger at the time. If you were playing zombies when the map came out and you were jumping on day one, you were 6 years younger than you are today. And when that map came out, there was an insane amount of hype on YouTube, but there were also leaks that were surrounding the entire release. And what ended up happening with that map is that the end cutscene for it, where you first see Samantha and Eddie in the house, and it was a complete twist that nobody was expecting, nobody predicted, it was just mind-blowing. That cutscene leaked maybe 24 hours or so before my team finished that Easter egg legit for the first time ever. And what happened in that game was that a couple of my teammates saw that cutscene leak and they watched it anyway. They were like, well, the cutscene's out, I want to see what happens in it. And they watched it. It didn't help us solve the Easter egg. It didn't really affect the gameplay on the map. I mean, the Origins cutscene is pretty far removed from everything else that actually happens in the map, apart from you helping Samantha, which you start doing on basically round one. So they watched it, and then they thought about it, and they went, hold on, why did I just do that? Like, I've actually just spoiled the ending of that entire year's worth of content for myself. Like, I chose to click the video. I personally didn't, but that's what my teammates were thinking. I chose to click on this video and watch it when I'm grinding for 24, 48, 36, 72 hours to try and solve an Easter egg to get to that cutscene. Why did I do that to myself? And then on the flip side of things, I decided that just for me, for my own personal enjoyment, I didn't want to watch the cutscene. I went on a blackout on Twitter. I didn't look at any tweets. I didn't look at any YouTube comments. I didn't look at stream chat or anything. I was just complete blackout because I didn't want spoilers. And then I got to that Origins Easter egg ending and I saw it for the first time and it knocked me over, man. I was so thrilled that the ending was not what I was expecting at all. The twist completely got me, and it was just an extremely satisfying culmination of all the work that I'd been putting into zombies that year, and all of the investment that I'd made over the last couple years enjoying zombies as a game mode, as a fan, as one of you guys, just someone playing the game and having fun. By not having it spoiled, I had a completely different experience with that map. And the reason I'm telling you this now is because two of the things that have leaked for Alpha Omega Nuketown Zombies are the intro cutscene audio and the outro cutscene audio. The actual ending for the map has already leaked. Now, the fault of that leak lies solely with Treyarch. This cannot really be attributed to anyone else, in my opinion. Years ago, I was in the position where I would upload a video and I would say, guys, I think that it's a real shame that the zombies community has to do this, that the zombies community will spoil things for itself and stuff like that. What I've come to feel like more over the years is that, realistically, part of the job of a game developer, and this is a bit of a cynical way to look at it, but it's just reality, I feel like, part of a game dev's job is to protect the player from themselves. And what that means is that as a player of a game, what you are psychologically wired to do very often, especially in games that are a little bit more grindy, is you will naturally gravitate towards not the activity that is the most fun, but the activity that gets you to the reward or the incentive that you are looking for the fastest, even if that is the least fun activity in the game. So for example, let me use a non-COD example. In Destiny, there was a loot cave in Destiny 1, right when it launched, where you could stand in the same place and just hold down your trigger basically indefinitely, running in and out of this cave over and over again for hours on end to grind for new gear. It's essentially the equivalent of of booting up a game of zombies with bots and sitting in the classified corridor, not even looking at your controller and just tapping to get headshots while you do something else. It's not a fun experience that you're having, you're not necessarily enjoying yourself, but you know as a player, it is the shortest path for you to get to the reward or the incentive or the final objective that you are looking for. And it's a game dev's job, in a lot of instances, to protect the player from doing that to themselves by giving them either incentives to do other things in their games and spice up their gameplay and make it more interesting, or making those other activities just so much more attractive inherently, or even in some cases, just making sure that those grindy pathways are neutralized in the first place so that they can't be found and can't be exploited and can't be used by players to burn themselves out on these games. And in this case, I think that we have run into another one of the infinite number of scenarios where this has happened in the zombies community, where Treyarch has unfortunately, and I'm not trying to dogpile or anything, but Treyarch has just made a blunder where they have not paid enough attention to the fact that there is sensitive material in their title update for PC, I guess, the PC files for Black Ops 4 Zombies, and that therefore, as is inevitable, has been data mined and has leaked, and now the intro and outro are out there. Alongside the intro and alongside the outro, the map's thumbnail has leaked. You've probably seen it pasted all over Twitter. I've seen it on YouTube as well. If there was going to be any speculation remaining that the map was going to be Nuketown, that's gone now, because the thumbnail shows that it's Nuketown. And granted, in the Alpha Omega logo, you can see a little nuke, and so you could say, oh, well, it's obviously going to be Nuketown, but there was still an element of mystery to it, right? Whereas now, everyone's pasted that image everywhere, it's just no mystery anymore. And the same goes, for example, for the new perk. The logo for that has leaked. New enemies as well, those have leaked too. And I'm not blaming the community for this, and I'm not saying if you like leaks, you're a bad person, and I'm not saying there's really a right or wrong stance to have. All I'm saying is, guys, I learned a lesson with my teammates back in 2013 that sometimes spoiling these things for yourselves reduces your own enjoyment of the thing that you love so much. And I want you guys to think twice before you click on the intro audio or the outro audio before release and before the Easter egg has been finished and solved and stuff like that, because there is a chance that you go in now really enthusiastic about the leak, but then in 10 days time when the map comes out, it means that the actual content that you have probably paid for, that you are so excited about, and that I'm getting so excited about as well, that content is less enjoyable for you because you made this decision 10 days earlier and you spoiled it for yourself. I just want people to think about that. Just think about it. And if your decision is that you're going to watch the intro and outro anyway or whatever, that's fine. That's totally fine. I would say that probably the nice thing to do for other people is not to wave that info in their faces and spam it all over Discord chats and stuff like that when other people might not want the spoilers. I'd say be respectful to other people, especially on Reddit, things like that. Don't be too obtuse about the whole thing, but there's nothing wrong necessarily, I would say, with consuming that content, looking at those images, listening to that audio, if that's what you want to do. I just want to make sure that people are thinking about this, because I know better than many that it can be very, very tempting to just click on the leak and learn all the new stuff. But my sort of overall general policy over the years, and it's waxed and waned, and it's shifted, and it's transformed, and it's evolved, has basically been, most of the time, if the leak is avoidable, it's usually more enjoyable to then get that surprise when the content comes out. For me, at least. I also just want to very quickly inject and say, I don't know whether I'm going to cover these in much depth or not in the next 10 days, because as a YouTuber, I have this extra conflict where this is my entire job, and if there's news, I kind of need to talk about the news, so I don't know what I'm going to do in the next couple days. I haven't decided yet, but right now, certainly for this video, I'm staying well away from it. With all that said, I think regardless of what your stance is personally, and this is a personal decision that you need to make really, I think we can all agree that the Treyarch devs are going to be devastated about this. And I know every time a leak comes out, people say, I think that this was intentional. I think that this is part of their marketing campaign. And I mean, the only thing that I can offer up there when this conversation comes up, because it comes up every single time there's a leak, is that there has not been a single dev that I have ever spoken to at Treyarch or any other game development company, and this goes for Activision PR people too. There has never been a moment where a single one of them has said, leaks are good and they're part of our strategy. And trust me, I feel like I've been in scenarios where those sorts of things would have been said to me had they been the case. But every single time, and this doesn't just go for Treyarch, by the way, this goes for people that work on all sorts of other games. I know a lot of other people in the industry. Every time, the sentiment is that the devs are always devastated when their stuff leaks. Even if it's positive, even if everyone's all really excited, it's just something that undermines their hard work. And so, to Treyarch devs who worked on this content that's now leaking, I feel for you massively, and I mean, this is a sentiment that I've echoed year after year after year. I think this sucks. What also definitely sucks is that Treyarch, for whatever reason, still, so many years after this first happened, way back in the early days of zombies, they still don't have a system to nip these things in the bud and stop them from happening. Genuinely, it's ridiculous how many years back into the past that I can count on my fingers and go, yep, there were leaks that year, and they were in the PC game files, and they came out before the map came out. It's absurd. And just the fact that regardless of whatever tech Treyarch might have built in that time, whatever attempts they might have made to combat it within the studio, whatever set of QA testers they might have fired, whatever it might be, right, to try and control leaks in the studio, none of those things have worked. And the story is about to end. It's just like, we were this close, guys. We were this close to Ether ending, and you just had to leak your own outro cutscene, man. Like, come on. It's unbelievable. Honestly, it's just unbelievable. And I mean, another thing that I think is quite an important point to make is that it's quite an attractive conclusion to come to say, well, at least it happened now rather than DLC 4, because DLC 4 is the end of the story forever. And it would probably be more sort of sad if the ending of that leaked rather than the ending of DLC 3, because now at least they can patch things up and get themselves sort of fixed and ensured that there's not going to be any leaks of the DLC 4 ending when that rolls around in 3-ish months' time. However, I think that that's a bit of a multi-layered assumption to make, because first of all, things have leaked in the past, right? And that hasn't stopped this leaking. So as far as I'm concerned, there's very little to say that this leaking is going to mean that future stuff won't leak. Like, this might leak and DLC 4 might leak for all we know. I'm sure Treyarch are going to be paying a lot of attention to it now for DLC 4, but they should have been doing that for DLC 3 anyway, and they clearly weren't. So can we have any faith in them preventing those leaks from happening? I don't know. And the other really important kind of other side of the coin here for that point, that at least it happened this time, is that Zombies is only just getting back on its feet, in my opinion. The Ether maps are really where a lot of people's focus on Zombies is going to return. And Chaos had some cool stuff, don't get me wrong. Ancient Evil, for example, I think is a fantastic map. I gave it a pretty glowing recommendation to all of you guys in my review for the map. I said that it wasn't going to fix Black Ops 4 as a game mode, but it was going to do wonders for the people that like the Chaos story and set things up for an interesting future of the Chaos story in other games. But it's always going to be Ether where there's the most attention, and with Zombies trying to claw its way back from the rough couple of months it had after launch last year and the kind of stagnation that it's found with DLC 1 and DLC 2, I'm just a little concerned that some of the momentum that we've really been building up in the last few days with all of the official Treyarch marketing, which has been great to see, I'm a little worried that will be undercut and subverted a little bit by the leaks, and it will mean that the map, which could have been a complete surprise, like if none of this happened and the outro didn't leak, etc., it could have been a total shock how that actual Easter egg finished. All of that now is just gonna have like an alternative shade to it of, well, we got something that I'm hoping is gonna be very, very cool, but there's just this sort of thing in your head of, well, it could have been even better, right? It could have been even more surprising. It could have shocked people more. It could have had a more interesting twist. And that, I think, is a real shame. So if you want to take a look at the leaks and stuff, by all means, feel free. This is a warning to you that that content exists on the internet now. It's going to be all over Twitter, inevitably, and YouTube, etc. So heads up. I think you guys know my stance on this well enough at this point. I've reiterated it many times over the years. And I want to be clear as well, when the Chaos Story maps were coming out, I made a video basically saying my kind of feeling for leaks has really changed to the point that I don't really care anymore. And at the time, that's the way I felt. And now that we're back at Ether, I'm still in a similar boat, I would say, where if you want to look at the leaks and talk about them and stuff, then so be it. But I just want you guys to think for a second, maybe longer than you might otherwise do, before you click on those videos, just so you don't regret anything, okay? That's all I'm saying. So please, if you see other people in the comment section and they're jumping down my throat for telling people what to do with their lives on this or whatever, please correct them and say, that's clearly not what I'm doing here, and I'm hoping that that's going to be clear that that's not what I'm doing here. I'm really not trying to go down that road. I'm just saying that all the devs that I've ever spoken to have said that this sucks. I reckon that Craig Houston is probably, I mean, he could be in tears right now for all I know. Like, this man is going to have poured so much into this map, writing these late DLC maps. Like, remember Grod Crovey? And remember Revelations? Can you remember how much writing those maps had in them, with all of the wisps, all of the extra Monty radios, all of the volumes and volumes of dialogue that we got in those maps? Craig is going to be working his ass off right now to get this thing out of the door. And I mean, Blood of the Dead, he mentioned, was one of his favorite pieces of work that he's ever written, ever. That ending. And what if the ending for this map has topped that in his books, and then suddenly he sees that the whole thing's leaked online 10 days before the map comes out? I don't think he's going to be very happy, man. So, yeah, I mean, Craig, what can I say? You've got every right to go and get very angry at whoever has been responsible for this inside the company, but that's going to probably wrap the video up for me. So I'm going to be making a bunch of story videos about all of the teasers that Treyarch have been releasing and all of that good stuff in the next couple days. I've got my Borderlands documentary releasing this weekend. I've got an E3 vlog with a celebrity who's kind of involved in gaming on YouTube, and he's a bit of a cool guy. That's going to be coming pretty soon as well, so look out for that. And I'll see you very soon in more zombies videos. All right? Cheers, guys. Bye for now.